Supervisor Perez, first off, what have you heard about what happened to Dr. Barzaga?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't heard very much other than what I read in the paper. I have asked around as to why potentially he was let go. Uh, you know, I think that when it comes to situations like these, it's unfortunate, but because it is an internal issue, we're not necessarily allowed or don't have access to the actual reasons why someone is either relieved of their duties and fired or one wants to leave. I think that in itself is a bit confusing because I'm hearing, as if you're asking, what am I hearing? I'm hearing that some people are saying that he was fired, others are saying that he's leaving on his own. My conversation with Conrado, with Dr. Barzaga, is that he wishes to continue the work. And I think that he's done such a great job that I felt that it'd be necessary for me to advocate on his behalf. And quite honestly, as I said, I read it in the paper. A few others called me on it and asking me what's going on. So I think it's a shock to many people. And as you saw already as well, including Congressman Raul Ruiz, including the Assembly Member's Office, Eduardo Garcia, and many other electeds that are wondering what is really going on here.
Well, let me ask you, sir, if you don't know what's really going on, then why put out a statement asking the board to reverse the decision? If you don't have all the facts, is it premature to condemn that decision?
Well, I would like to state that Dr. Barzaga is probably one of the best executive director CEOs that we ever had within the Desert Healthcare District. Now, we've had many. I like to think that Mr. Wayne Susi was also a great leader back in his day, which was years ago. But I'll tell you, it took 20 to 30 years before we actually expanded that Desert Healthcare District. Dr. Barzaga did an outstanding job in ensuring that once that healthcare district was expanded, that it was inclusionary and that it actually allowed folks that unfortunately in the past never really had a voice would now have one. Aside from that, he made it so that the district was also certified by the Association of California Healthcare Districts and the California Special Districts Association, which no other CEO has ever done. Now, mind you, we just went through a pandemic and COVID, something that none of us have ever seen in our lifetime, and hopefully we'll never see it ever again. He was able to bring together not only a group of folks from different walks of life throughout the Coachella Valley that potentially in the past had never really spoken with each other, and brought this collaborative together to work with one another to combat COVID-19 and to ensure vaccinations, to ensure that communities like farm workers, the homeless, veterans, others that many times get lost in the mix actually did have an opportunity for a vaccination. I think the list goes on and on as to what his accomplishments were. So is it premature? I guess that's a matter of interpretation. It's a matter of those individuals to think through that. But I will say that the actions that this individual has taken on, has performed, not only with words, but actually with resources and ensuring the distribution of over $21 million for programs, and then actively working in our communities to ensure that people have access to healthcare. especially during COVID, says a lot. So I'm hoping that regardless, that we do receive some sort of explanation, and if not, a reversal as to why they are choosing to relieve him of his duties.
Have you spoken to Dr. Barzaga?
I have. I've spoken to him yesterday. As soon as I found out through, once again, the media outlets.
What did he say?
Well, he wants to continue working for the constituents, for the residents of the Coachella Valley. He obviously did not disparage. He did not speak ill or negatively against anyone on his board or staff. He just feels that ultimately it was a decision made in which he himself did not realize was coming. Now, I don't have anything against the new CEO. My understanding is that he's been as well with the Desert Healthcare District for many years, and he's a good guy. I've known him for some time as well, and I'm sure he can do a good job. But I will say, though, that this individual here is one, and Dr. Conrado Barzaga, that will continuously do good on behalf of our constituents, and I'm hoping that there is some form of reconsideration.
It sounds like Dr. Barzaga was blindsided by this decision, but did he give you any inkling as to why they let him go?
Not at all. And I think that's because, by law, those type of decisions, and I'm assuming that he was perhaps in the room when this was decided, and if not, they brought him into the room once it was decided, and maybe even gave him an explanation that as to why potentially he was let go. But he did not give me any inclination at all. And I think, once again, that goes to his integrity as an individual. Not, once again, speaking ill or negatively about his board or those that had some sort of say or voice or impact on this decision.
Anything else, sir, you would like to say about the situation before we let you go?
I'd just like to say thank you to Dr. Barzaga for all the great work he's done, and I'm hoping that he will continue to do more. I like for the board to reconsider and to listen to the voices that are actually reaching out to them. We're talking about an array of individuals from throughout the Coachella Valley that are speaking up, that are writing letters, that are putting in phone calls, that are a bit disappointed to learn about this. Because once again, we have an individual here that has gone further and farther as far as programs, as far as services, as far as resources, funding streams, than any other CEO we've ever had within the Desert Healthcare District. And that says a lot. It's not just words, it's all the actions that he has taken.
All right, Supervisor Perez, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Peter. Take care.